Hi, I'm Blythe Stevens of A Blythe Coach, dance education and coaching to move through life with balance, grace, and power. Today I'm here to share one of my very favorite ballet positions, Arabesque. It's a position balanced with the weight on one leg and the other leg reaches behind, either on the floor or higher. And we're reaching with one arm or both to the front. So I'm going to share a bit of a literature review like I like to do from some various sources such as Agrippina Vaganova and Rory Foster. And then we'll look at some of the practical technical aspects of making a beautiful arabesque. In Ballet Pedagogy, The Art of Teaching by Rory Foster, he describes arabesque like this, with a gorgeous diagram in the placement section that illustrates, quote, placement in arabesque showing the correct counterbalance of the working leg, torso, and arms in relation to the center of gravity and over the base of support. Notice how the arabesque is visually and aesthetically balanced. And I share some more that also comes from this awesome book in my other videos on spatial planes and spatial dimensions and planes, which is an awesome one to check out if you're interested more in the technique of how we're using our anatomy to counterbalance and create these sorts of balance shapes that we see in classical ballet. In Basic Principles of Classical Ballet, Russian Ballet Technique by Agrippina Vaganova, she has some great insights into arabesque. She says the arabesque is one of the basic poses in contemporary classical ballet. If in attitude the leg is bent or half bent, in arabesque it must always be fully extended. The forms of the arabesque are varied to infinity. The four principal arabesques accepted in our technique are the following. And aside from me, of course, various classical ballet techniques do number the arabesques differently, as they also name certain positions and steps differently. But the way that it is performed is still fairly consistent. So Vaganova goes on. First arabesque, also called open, ouverte, or allongé, but at present these terms are no longer in use. The body rests on one leg, the other, extended and straight, is lifted from the ground to an angle of no less than 90 degrees. The feet are in position effacé. The arm opposite to the lifted leg is extended forward. The other one is taken out to the side. The hands are held palms down as if leaning on the air. I love how she says that. The body is inclined forward. The head is in profile to the audience, as is the entire figure. The shoulders are level, as in all arabesques. The deciding factor in the arabesque is the back. Only by holding it well can one produce a beautiful line. And then she describes some variations between the French, Italian, and other schools of ballet. And essentially first, second, third, and fourth arabesque are performed differently, but there's a similar dynamic. So I'm going to show a basic and teach a basic first arabesque in this video, and then also some alternative forms that arabesques take, but we're not going to worry too much about which number is which. We can follow up on that for more. If you're interested in these sorts of differences and consistencies in different schools of thought, you might also enjoy my 8 or 9 positions of the body video. The Cecchetti Method of Classical Ballet Theory and Technique by Cyril W. Beaumont and Stanislas Idzikowski says of arabesque, quote, these are very charming poses, which doubtless owe their inspiration to antique painting and sculpture. The same arabesque applied to the flowing ornament of a Moorish invention is exactly suited to express those graceful lines which are their counterpart in the art of dancing. An arabesque is made by supporting the body on one leg, which can be straight or demi-plie, while the other leg is extended in a straight line at right angles to it. The arms are disposed in harmony with the lines made by the legs. The essence of good arabesque is the correct disposition of the weight of the body, which should be neither too far forwards nor too far backwards. A simple method of determining whether the body is correctly placed is to pass the raised foot forwards and step on it. If the weight is correctly disposed, the body will remain in equilibrium. Whereas if the back is too arched or the chest thrown too far forwards, the body will fall backwards or forwards, respectively. And they go on to describe 5 arabesques and have a supporting diagram to show them. Additionally, they note, quote, note that the shoulders are held square to the line of direction, and that the extremity of the hand extended in the 4th position front must always be in the line with the center of the space between the eyes. Note this one for later. The arm extended in the 4th position back is disposed in the same line according to the theory of port-de-bras. It is obvious that such positions are capable of infinite variation from the slightest displacement of either foot or either arm at once produces a new pose. Choreographically considered arabesques are generally introduced to conclude a phrase of steps, both in the slow movements entitled adage and in the sparkling, vivacious movements grouped under allegro. The Ballet Companion by Eliza Gaynor-Minden has the following insights about arabesques. Quote, the major training systems differentiate among arabesques in different ways. The French school considers orientation, which leg is raised relative to the audience. RAD and Bourdonville consider the positions of the arms. Cecchetti does too, and adds variations facing a corner with a bent supporting leg, 4th and 5th arabesques. The Soviet system incorporates both orientation and port-de-bras. The working leg, always long and stretched, may range in height from arabesque à terre, in which the working toes touch the floor, to a, quote, 6 o'clock arabesque penché, in which the upper body leans forward to allow the working foot to point straight up to the ceiling. The pelvis tips to allow the leg to rise above 45 degrees, and the shoulders must move forward as well, but the back is strong and arched at all times. The working hip resists opening until the height of the working leg requires it. The upper back from the bust up is always upright and slightly arched. Be careful not to let the ribs protrude or the shoulders to hunch forward. And lovely Maria here demonstrates various arabesques from the assorted schools. Arabesque creates a beautiful swooping line, which, as has been indicated by some of the other texts that I've quoted, and also what you might think at the term arabesque, comes from an architectural idea, actually, of a gently sloping line meeting a right angle. So it creates this beautiful curve. In arabesque, therefore, we're not trying to create a right angle with the upper body and the leg, but rather a long curve through that angle, which then adjusts the angle according to the height of the leg, which of course depends on our flexibility as well as our strength. So that's things that we're working towards with our arabesque. So for our first arabesque, we can show how we come from effacé derrière. And we'll just adjust the arms so one arm or both are in the front, and then the other arm, if not towards the front, is the side. First arabesque, I will have the same arm forward as the leg I'm standing on, and the other arm is at approximately a 90-degree angle, so it reaches to the side. And then I've got no weight or very little weight in the back toe. I'm really standing here onto one leg, onto my right leg, and the other leg is reaching to the back. If I were flat with the audience, the line would be here, facing directly side. And here I'm coming again from effacé derrière. Here my shoulders are level, and shoulders and hips are more or less square to my facing side. My forward arm, which I'm looking over, is right in front of my nose, or my eyes, and I'm gazing beyond my fingers, far beyond the middle finger, like so. So other arabesques would include other locations of the arms or the arms and legs. But we'll start with first arabesque. It's a very beautiful shape. Build that architecture, that swooping curve through the back, create the line, and then grow from there. Thank you so much for joining me in this video on arabesques. I hope you enjoyed this information and trying it out in your dance technique or in your appreciation of watching classical and contemporary ballet. If you do like it, go ahead and do so. Indicate that down below and leave a comment. Let me know what you enjoyed and what you'd like to see more of in the future. And if you're interested in more, of course, I've got a bunch more videos on this channel as well as resources at my website, ablythecoach.com. That's ABLYTHECOACH.com. See you next time.